Hey, kia ora, Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1491. Another exhausting day. I apologize for being on late. Zephy and I were just chillaxing in the family room, and it was just nice. We didn't have the TV on, and it was just nice and relaxing. And I keep watching the weather because but first of all, exhausting day. So I woke up at 3 o'clock this morning and suddenly thought, when I put the slides in on Sparkles yesterday, I forgot on each end of the slide is a window, and those windows have been covered with the solar screens, and the solar screens are to reduce the amount of UV rays coming into the RV and to help keep it a little cooler, simply because it's capturing the heat before it gets to the glass, because most people put like the Reflectrix on the inside, but the glass gets heated up from the Reflectrix reflecting back out through the glass. So the solar panels are designed to, when you put them on, the solar screens are designed to reduce that heat hitting the glass so that it's not heating up before it comes into the RV and then heating up the RV. And I suddenly realized that I had totally forgotten to take the solar screens off the slides before I put the slides away yesterday, and but they're domed fixed, and I was like, oh darn. And I woke up like around 3:15, somewhere around there. I thought, damn, I've got them. And I thought, oh, and I have to take those off. And then the list started creating in my head of what we had to do when we got to the RV this morning. So we got over there around 6:30-ish, and I text Mike, my next door neighbor, to say, hey, we're on our way over, because he told me he'd be up early so we could get ready early and leave early to go do the things so he could get back in time for his stuff he had to do that day. And I asked him, do you have a ladder that I can use to take the solar screens off? And he's like, oh yeah, we got one of those. And so I got over there. He was busy climbing off the ladder. He had already taken all my solar screens off, because they have the little twisty turn things, and whereas the ones on the end of the slides are domes. The snaps, and these ones have twist turn things on them. And he said he went to take the solar panels off the wipers, but the wiper was broken, so I decided to leave it there in case I accidentally hit the window washer thingy and I would get the solar screens cleaning instead of the blades, because if I'd done the other one, it would have scratched it really, really badly. And so I said, okay, I should be ready in about 45 minutes. It took a little longer, but we got everything done. And then he came over just as I was getting everything ready to disconnect. I already had the engine on. And the last thing I had to do was do the tire pressure, and I had to empty out had to dismantle the water, the utilities. So the sewer hose had to be put away. I had to empty the tanks, put the sewer hose away. Oh, did I? Yes, no, I did do that. Just I had the sudden thought I didn't close the tanks off, but I did. I half filled the water, the freshwater tank. That gives me like 40 gallons, I think it is, because I think it's an 80-gallon tank, 80 or 85-gallon tank. So I've got like 40 gallons in there now, which is plenty for while it's in storage. And so I got all that done. And as I'm doing that, he says, what else? And I said, I just got to do my the tire pressure. He says, I've got an air compressor for that. And he had like this big air compressor. I've just got this little thing, but it does up to 160 pounds of 160 PSIs. And I only needed 80. And so he had a pressure thing. So I pulled out the tire gauge for him, and he actually went and did all of my tires, but except for the front passenger one, because the nozzle on the tire was almost tucked in against the hub, and we couldn't get the hubs off. And I was like, that's really weird. And because it's a metal shaft going in, you didn't want to bend it and snap it and all that sort of stuff. So he used to be a truck driver, so he whacked, and they'd walk around and whack their tires to see if they needed intakes. So he whacks it with a hammer. It sounded fine. So we finally left the site. I think it was 9:45 that we left the site. So 30 minutes later than we anticipated. He followed in my car, and we went down. We got to the RV storage, went down this road. They didn't have the rows labeled because you're supposed to come in and go down one row where I was going to be. You come in, go down one row, come around the top, and then come back, and you angle park into your slot. And I thought, oh, this is the row I've got to go straight. I'm trying to remember the map that was in my head. This is the row I've got to go straight. So there's no markings on that. I thought I was over far enough. I ended up going down this row. It's the row I needed to be in. So I had to go down the end there. And then there's this big, massive area. So I did this big U-turn, sweeping U-turn, came back in and parked the RV. And Mike made sure I got as far forward as I can because it was a drive-in parking, which means that my whole front end faces west, and my back end faces east. But my front end is in the middle of the overhead canopy. So, which means it won't get any sun on the front end of it at all. None at all. Because I'm also in the middle of a row. So for the south, it's all protected from there. And my back end is my whole back end's underneath the thing, but because of the way the sun is, the back end will still get some sun. But that's okay. It's on the back end and it's facing east, so it's not for a lot of time in the day in that. And so we put the feet down, got it all squared away, and I got out and I'm like walking towards, and there's another RV like parked right next to me that I had to squeeze in. I had to squeeze in between a post and the RV next to me. And I looked at and as I'm walking down, it's like, and I was like, am I straight? Am I straight in my parking space? And we got back and I am within the lines of my parking space, but I'm on a little angle. And I thought, yeah, I'm not going to fuss about it now. I'll go, go over there on the weekend or something. I found out the gates are open from 3 a.m. to 11 p.m. So I can go anytime, almost anytime, day or night, to go and do this, except for those 4 hours. And so I've got to go in and straighten up the parking, but it's within the lines of my space. And I thought, I'll worry about it another day. By this stage, I mean, we were there at 6:30 in the morning. It was hot. It was humid. I'm dripping wet by this point. My clothes are sticking to me, and I'm just sort of like, I just want to go home and have a shower. But I had to drive back to the resort because I had to drop Mike off. And so took Mike back to the resort, but then I had to stop by the post office on the campground to hand in the keys. So I cleared my box. There was just it's only the power bill that was ever in the mailbox anyway. So cleared that and handed my key in for that and told them, oh, you're going to have a new person on there tomorrow. So, and today the power got cut, got read the monitor in. They were doing a final reading on it for the power. So that all went very, very well, but it was exhausting. We got home like around 9:45, I think it was, that we got home. And we did stop by Dutch Brothers. I was sort of like, I have done all this hard work. I know it's going to be a lot of sugar going into my system, but I will drink a lot of water to counter it. And I thought, and Zeffie deserves a pup cup because I am so proud of her. If you watched last night, you would have seen. Sorry, I thought she was licking the area she wasn't supposed to lick, but then I checked and she wasn't licking there. She has not been licking the area, her surgical area. So I was like, yes. And she deserved a pup cup. So we got her a pup cup and I brought her home, took her onto her mat in the family room there and set her down and gave her pup cup, and that kept her entertained. And then by the time I had taken the stuff out of the car that was in the car and come inside, she's got the cup and she's like grabbing the edge of it. And it's just a little paper cup and tossing it in the air because that's what she does when she has her Kong. And the Kong, if you don't know, is like this indestructible rubber toy for dogs that you stuff treats and Kong paste inside, and you can actually freeze them, and it gives them a treat that they will takes them a while to get through, keeps them entertained for ages. And she gets up though, and at one point she'll get that thing and she'll pick it up by the knob at the top and toss it, waiting for it to bounce and drop stuff on the floor, and then she just follows along behind and eats it. So she thought the paper cup was the same, even though the paper cup was completely empty. So that was our day, and I was sort of like, oh my gosh, I've got to get ready because I had to go to work at 12 o'clock and was on the chat today, and we're busy on the chat this afternoon. So it's been a very busy, exhaustive day, and I'm behind on my water intake. I've got if you haven't seen my water bottle, this is my 100 and see, 128 ounce water bottle. And as you can see, I'm only at 2 p.m. It gives you times. Yesterday, I drank a full one of these and 2 of my 32 ounce ones. And when I looked at later, for those that are on the metric system, it's 5.6 liters. So it's been a very exhausting day, but it's been a good day. We got a lot done, and I'm already starting on my list for what I have to do at the RV. And I actually have ordered it. I ordered a battery trickler, and the RV started perfectly today. Didn't have any issues today. Thank you. And the RV has not been driven for over 2 years. June 1st of 2021 was the last time the RV was driven, and it wasn't that far. It was from one side of the pet area to another side. It wasn't even a quarter mile, probably about a quarter mile. And that was the last time the RV was driven. It was the 1st of June 2021 when I moved on to the site that I was on. So it hasn't been driven in all that time. The engine has not been on in all that time. It jump-started yesterday after the second turn of the key. And I left it running for almost an hour before I turned it off. Get in today, and when it was time to put the engine on to start switching off all the other stuff, put that on, and it came on beautifully today. And after we did the tire pressure and all of that, we had the screens off. We had the screens packed and put away. We had all the stuff disconnected and everything else. I got out there to drive, and I would tell you the Sparkles drove beautifully. You would not have known that vehicle had been sitting for over 2 years and hadn't been driven in over 2 years, in 2 years and 2 months that it had since it last been, July, June, July, August. 2 years and 3 months that it hadn't been driven in 2 years and 3 months. And it drove beautifully. It drove like, we'd only stayed at the campground a couple of nights, and now we're back on the road again. It was awesome to drive. And I was sort of like, where should we go today? Well, let's go put her in storage today. So it drove beautifully. And people are always talking about, but you're going to have to watch the gas because the gas would degrade and all of that. And, the engine may not start. You're going to need the starter stuff to spray in there, and needed none of that. And Mike and I were talking on the way back because we're talking about, rain and all that. We're talking about the weather. Got talking about the weather and the rain. And I said, you know what's really funny? He goes, what's that? I said, as I was driving the RV today, I thought, wouldn't it be really cool that if I'm driving the RV, I park it underneath the canopy at the RV park, and we get rain. And he's sort of like, he starts laughing, and he goes, and then tells me about one of the neighbors across the road who had the utility box, which has all their power and stuff, and it had gotten knocked over, and it had been sitting for a while before it got repaired. And that theirs thing got repaired 2 days ago, and they're lucky they didn't have any rain because it could have shorted out and it could have been disastrous. It could have been shorted out their entire house, and everything else had the water got into this damaged utility box. And I'm sort of like, and so I said to him, wouldn't it be funny if now it rains? Because my RV is now in storage, so the one leak that it has, it's on the main roof, won't happen because it's now under shelter. And he turns, and then we're talking about the neighbor, and I'm sort of like, well, that would be really good. We can now get the rain. And I get home, and on my phone was a flood watch for the next 2 or 3 days. And I'm looking at the maps and everything else, and they're turning around saying we're going to get a lot of, they've got flood watches out, which means we're going to get a lot of rain, supposedly. And so I'm sort of like, rain, yes. And my little rain monitor thing for the next 4 hours shows no rain, but the thing for the hourly thing says that there is like a 67% chance of rain. And guess this is how much rain they're anticipating in around now. They had for 6 o'clock this evening a 67% chance of rain, and they were expecting 0.04 inches. It would be evaporated before it hit the ground at that rate. And especially since it's 104 outside or something today. Yeah, today was 110, and tomorrow we're dropping down to 90. Might have to put a sweater on. So, but I'm looking outside, still blue skies, but the wind has picked up. Usually it picks up before we get the thunderstorms through. So we shall see if we get rain or not. But yeah, we got the flood watch is in effect. I'm like, yay. So I'm ready to go out dancing in the rain. But then I suddenly thought, suddenly this afternoon it hit me. I'm like, oh, if it rains, I have to somehow protect Zeffie's stitches on her back leg to make sure they don't get wet, because they can't get wet. How am I supposed to keep them dry? So we could either go out, but even with the water on the ground, with her, she does not walk. She trots, and she's supposed to be walking, but she's still going to kick up spray from her feet, and it's going to splash onto her stitching area because it's on the inside of her back leg. And so I'm like thinking, we might have to put some saran wrap on that and just wrap it up, and fingers crossed that none of the water gets into the top of it or something and down onto the maybe I'll just put some tape around the top, and yeah, we'll do our we'll do our best to keep it dry. But you know, she's still not licking it, which is awesome. But yes, now we have a new challenge that if we get this rain, which we've been which we absolutely desperately need, like we go walking at night and you're starting to see trees are dying off. There's these bushes, and they have the sprinklers come on and all that sort of stuff, but it's not enough. They have these low bushes in the garden areas and stuff too. And if we on one of our walks, when we go one way, this whole bush, which was a beautiful green color, is now dead. It's dried up. It's dead. It looks like autumn's come too early for it. It really does. It's just like all one color. It's brown. It's dead. It may come back with the water. I don't know. But you're starting to see the dryness coming through on the trees. All these beautiful green trees have had, and you're now starting to see the dryness come through on them. And I'm just like, that is so hard to see, because trees are wonderful. They're beautiful. I love trees. Yes, I am a tree hugger. I will hug trees. It's just my way of getting back to nature. And sometimes I just got to be in nature. Take the shoes and socks off and walk around in the grass. Although around here there's strange things that walk in the grass, like ants. Not a big ant fan. And I don't know what other creatures they have around here, but yeah. Anyway, so it's just been an exhausting day. I am tired. I am dehydrated. I'm well behind on my water count for the day. So I'm going to have to drink some more water to get back up. But my mouth is starting to feel like sandpaper right now. So I'm going to sign off for today. And, how was your day? Let us know how your day went. Was it an exhausting day? Was it an exhilarating day? I mean, I'm also exhilarated as well, because we've got the RV away. It's in a great spot. I'm just going to have to move it a little bit, but that's not going to be much. And then I realized I forgot to prop open the fridge and the freezer, so I need to go do that. And, when I went into the freezer to see if the ice had melted overnight, because I turned the fridge and freezer off yesterday. No, but I banged the shelf that was in there, and I could actually reach behind the sheets of ice that were in the freezer and just like pull off the chunks. And I threw them in the sink and just let them melt there. And I thought, maybe I should have just thrown them outside. They would have been gone in seconds. And but I forgot to prop them open, because when you're not using them, it's better to prop them open so they don't get dry and musty and moldy and all that sort of stuff. But when I checked the fridge, all the ice was gone. It had drained away because it hadn't been, and I had towels in there for any overflow, bone dry towels. So I was sort of like, yay. So yeah, that's us. We're done. Sparkles is now in storage, and I only have the kitchen cabinets left to clear out, and the cabinet over the recliner. Everything else has been cleared out. And the bathroom. I got to still clear the stuff in the bathroom, but I do have to go over. We'll probably go over sometime this weekend, because I do have foodstuffs in the kitchen area, like oil and coconut oil, and I might have some canned stuff up there as well. So I want to get that removed from there as quick as possible. So yeah, we'll be over there this weekend clearing it out some more. But I will be leaving the glasses, the cups, the dishes, the cutlery. That's just the basic essentials in there. I'll be this, and the pots and pans that are in there as well. But everything else will be taken out and cleared out. So, and it's meant to be cooler this weekend. So we'll may go over and do that. Because I have an empty weekend this weekend, but I also have a lot of study to catch up on my classes that have kind of been put on hold while I get the RV situation taken care of and working on some stuff for clients. So now it's just sort of like, this is going to be a catch-up weekend. Got the laundry ready to go. Got to get that done too. So it's going to be a busy weekend, but in a good way. And is that someone's ears? Yeah, those are Zeffie's ears. Zeffie, let me put your head up. Kathy wants to see you on screen. There you go. Now she can probably just see your nose. But anyway, that's it from me for tonight. Go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. Pray for rain for us. I so want it to rain. I've got the backyard set up and underneath the patio. We've got a covered patio, so the chairs are set up back there with a little footstool, so I can sit there and watch the rain. That's one reason that I like the covered patio, because I can sit and watch the rain. So I really want to watch the rain this weekend. Maybe I'll move the chairs out front and I can just watch the street as it rains and rains on that grass. Oh yeah, I have to mow the grass on Saturday morning too. So we'll see how that goes. I'm still trying to keep it alive, but it's still mainly green, which is good. Yeah, I should have done a whole story on my lawn. It's not a big piece of grass either, which is why I just have one of those push mowers. Because any other mower, it would be a waste of time. Using a powered mower, it's so small. But yeah, it needs to be cut, and it's taken me a long time to get it green. I've been manually using it. There is a water irrigation system in the ground there somehow, but I have no idea how it works. And so I've been using just a sprinkler and watering it sort of like every other day. Every 2 to 3 days, I go out and put the sprinkler on for like about 30 to 40 minutes. And that seems to be keeping it green. But now it's got this, like the top tips are being burnt or something. So I will mow it probably tomorrow. I might even do it tomorrow morning, depending on the humidity levels and if the grass is dry. Because that will depend on whether or not we've got rain. Anyway, I'm out of here. Go have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we will catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Hey, konera.